So the other day on Newswave, we had talked about a couple of URLs that appeared to leak the names of a couple of games coming up from WB, and I wasn't sure if one of these games was going to be released this year, even a current gen game, and then the other one could be next year. But what's weird about this whole thing is it sounds like they are both going to be next gen games, and one of them might even be a ways off still, which is very odd. But from what we are hearing now, these two games appear to be PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X games, not necessarily current gen games. I guess they could be cross-gen, but it sounds like they are really working to push next-gen hardware over developing for current gen stuff. So let's take a look at this today. Guys, if you're brand new here, subscribe down below, especially if you're looking forward to any of the next generation systems so you can get different news and things happening here. And make sure you guys like the video on the way out. So let's move over to here because this is from Eurogamer, and they had corroborated some of the information that was put out there specifically around URLs that were filed by WB Games. Now, we had talked about this on Newswave about there being two of them, one of them being SuicideSquadGame.com and the other one being Gotham Knights Game.com. Now, Gotham Knights appears to be that Batman game that is constantly being teased. We heard about this game forever ago, and then it was teased, and we thought, oh wow, this was like mid last year or something. We're like, oh wow, I guess they're going to announce it pretty soon. And we kept pointing to different things. Oh, they'll announce it at E3. No, okay. Oh, wait, they'll announce it at the Game Awards. No, okay, they'll announce it at the State of Play. Still no. It was very strange to not have this game announced when we pretty much know a lot about this. Like, we know it's going to deal with apparently, based on rumors, the entire Batman family, essentially, and it's going to deal with the Court of Owls, which they themselves, WB, have kind of alluded to now on Twitter. It's the whole situation's strange. I don't know what's going on with this Batman game or why it hasn't been announced yet, but the title appears to be Gotham Knights. At least that is the URL that was filed, and that is supposedly set for next-gen consoles, and it looks like it's going to be revealed at the end of August. I believe August 22nd is when WB is holding their DC Fandome thing. It's going to be like a live stream where they just have this running for like 24 hours and show different things off, whether it's comics or movies, animated films, or any of these games. So we'll see how all of that goes down. But the other game is SuicideSquadGame.com. That was another one we had talked about, but there was one particular phrase, as is outlined here by Eurogamer: Suicide Squad, kill the Justice League. That very well could be the title for the game, and that one is being handled by Rocksteady. Now, Rocksteady, they've been missing for a while, right? Of course, they did Arkham Knight, and then after that, they just kind of disappeared. There was DLC and bug fixes and all other stuff, patches that went out, but for the most part, they've just been kind of absent. The most they've said is that we won't be at this event. We can't wait to show you what we're working on. We won't be at the Game Awards. You know, those kind of things, just to kind of take care of any expectations for them making an appearance with what could have been at the time Superman, another Batman game, a Flash game. There have been so many rumors about what they're working on, but there was a rumor a long time ago about Suicide Squad being the game that they are working on. However, then a rumor came out that it was either put on hold or outright canceled, or they had moved the direction of the game. So now it looks like it's coming back to a Suicide Squad game being what Rocksteady is working on. Eurogamer here has reported that, yes, Batman Arkham developer Rocksteady is making a Suicide Squad game. And the only reason I can think of this development taking so long, well, there's two things. One, it is having some issue in development, and they have changed direction several times and been all over the place with it. And two, it really is a games as a service game, and it's just taking a while to build it out. That was part of the rumor a while ago, is that Rocksteady was working on a games as a service Suicide Squad game. I assume it's going to be something where you join the Suicide Squad, you make a character, and it's a full online enabled story, kind of like The Division 2 is what I'm thinking, sort of like in that realm, right? Where you will be playing with other people, but there's also like a full single player you can go through, and there will be updates over time. I mean, think about when Arkham Knight came out, right? That's when like all of these games as a service games started really hitting like constantly throughout this past generation. Ubisoft moved all of their games as like games as a service. So it's not shocking for WB to look around and say, well, if we had at least just one of these that was sustainable, that would help tremendously with funding and budgets and all of this, because we're constantly bringing in money. And why not get Rocksteady, who has proven themselves to be able to create games, to go and build this thing out? But I have some concerns about this. One, since 2015, we've had a bit of a fatigue around games as a service, which is one of the reasons Ubisoft seemed to be kind of delaying a lot of games and changing focus and trying to figure out how they can make it work. It's just we were saturated with so many of these games as a service games that we were just getting kind of tired of them. At least that's the way I was seeing it. And the sales and even scores of a lot of these games were kind of reflecting that as they became very formulaic, right? So I'm hoping if Rocksteady has this Suicide Squad games as a service game ready to go, that it is at least different enough to make it interesting. And who knows, maybe them actually developing for next-gen platforms has given them the ability to do different things that weren't available on the current-gen systems, and that could be different enough. They have to bring some different ideas to the table and not just make like a Division clone with Suicide Squad characters, right? That's just, to me, that's what they have to do. It is odd, though, for me to see Rocksteady go from a company or developer who made all these Batman games, mostly, I mean, big-time single-player narrative-type experiences, right? To then shift over to something that would be this big multiplayer-style games-as-a-service Suicide Squad game. And it looks like, the weird thing, it's not anywhere near being ready to show off, at least. That's Eurogamer is saying that we'll see very little of that game because it's still a ways off at the DC Fandome event. And I don't know why that would be, unless there really was some development struggles or something going on internally around this game. Because, like I said, Arkham Knight, that was a while ago. It's been 5 years. You figured they would be almost at the finish line for this game if everything went smoothly, but they're still have quite a ways to go. Maybe they shifted internally to next gen and that's what was changing things up. Hard to say there. And then the other thing is Gotham Knights apparently won't have a massive showing at this event either. Now, that could be because they're going to do all kinds of DC properties there, and maybe they want to focus on a lot of things outside of just video games, and it could get its own trailer and stuff outside of this event. Very possible, but it sounds like Gotham Knights, which was originally thought to be something that could have been coming out this year, since we were talking about it at last year's Game Awards show being unveiled, might just be a next-gen title as well coming next year. So, hey, you know what? I don't mind it as much because I think it'll be really cool to see this Gotham Knights game on next-gen hardware, right? A brand new Batman game with all of the Bat family members in there. That could be fun. And since we heard about, of course, no loading times and the world being able to be drawn in faster and take advantage of the SSD and the better CPU, the better GPU in these systems, I'm okay with that. I mean, it hasn't been unveiled yet. If they're going to unveil it in August, it's definitely not coming out this year, so you might as well make sure it's set up for next gen. I will admit, though, while I'm interested to see what they do with Suicide Squad, I'm a bit surprised they didn't just go the route of, oh, let's make a Superman game, let's make a game with the Flash, a character that has a bit more notoriety over like just the Suicide Squad brand. I mean, we of course had a movie and all of that, but like it's like if Rocksteady showed up and said, hey, we're doing Superman, that would of course be massive online. People would get really, really excited, but I feel like Suicide Squad will excite some of the fan base, but then there'll be others who are like, really? Suicide Squad? You could have done something with Superman or the Flash or several other characters in the DC universe, and you picked the Suicide Squad IP? All right, well, that's an interesting thing to have Rocksteady spend what could be like 6 or 7 years on. But let me know what you guys think about this situation down below, with Rocksteady seemingly working on a Suicide Squad game that could be games as a service for next gen, and Warner Bros. Montreal having a game called Gotham Knights that we've heard quite a bit about with the Bat family and the Court of Owls, also seemingly going to next gen platforms as well. Thanks guys for watching. Make sure you like the video on the way out if you enjoyed it, dislike it if not, and I'll see you next time.